Welcome to Esther's Universe. It's a magical place full of courage, creativity, and joy. It's where anything is possible as science and woo-woo come together to teach you how to step into your power and raise your vibration so together we can heal the collective and make a positive impact on the world. If you love the pod, please share it and enjoy.
Hello, I'm fucking so excited about this episode. We're going to get stuck the fuck in. It's about values, purpose. It's about that feeling you have when you can't quite find the thing that you need to move toward, but you know you're supposed to be moving towards something, and how to find that and how to feel purposeful in your everyday and reach this version of yourself that you know lives deep inside you. So I want you to get a pen and paper if you can, but if you're driving or walking when listening to this, just hit the little plus sign to library the episode. Do you know what I mean? Come back to the episode. Listen to it now, but come back and do these journal prompts. Quick little note, I'm going to put some journal prompts into the show notes of this episode, so check them out because then you don't have to try and find them in the episode later. Think about your values as they're different to your goals in the sense that you want your goals to align with your values. Your values are ever present. They are kind of like the guideposts of your life direction. When you're living in alignment with your values, it's a state of being. It's like when you're so clear on your values, you can't really be shaken in them. Your values are the core of your being. And when we're not clear on our values, we can feel very fucking lost and very fucking stuck. So if you're ever feeling in life what am I meant to be doing right now? I'm feeling like a shift, but where do I go? La la la. Look for your values. If you're trying to find your heart's purpose and you're like, oh my God, I know I'm meant to be doing more. And I'm so ready to fucking grab my purpose by the balls and go for it. But what is it? Look for your values. So there are core values that we'll have forever. I value honesty and stuff like that. But then there's also going to be other values that ebb and flow depending on what's happening in your life and on the inner calling that you're having from the universe. And you want to align your goals, which is goals have an end point, right? You can tick off a goal. So you want to align your goals with your values so that you can achieve a life where you're living as in alignment with your values as possible. This is also basically closing the gap of duality. So, when you hear spiritual people talking about duality, it's basically the gap between your innermost authentic self, the version of you that is the universe walking around on earth in your being, your present conscious being, and then the person that you project outward into the world. So you want to close that gap as much as possible. And obviously that starts in your inner world, in your subconscious, and becoming conscious and watching the kind of things that you say and that you do, and watching the triggers that you experience and stuff like that. So you become conscious of all those things and you do your best to ask yourself in the moment, how can I be my most authentic self right now? What is my most authentic, expression in this moment? So that's all amazing. But then the extended version of that is, how do I make the rest of my life fit this most authentic version of myself? Because we're here to create our life. We can design our own lives. We're not just, a leaf in the wind or a plastic bag floating along. We are able to make choices that step us closely in alignment with our most authentic way of being, with our values. And it's up to us to recognize that, our subconscious will be throwing up fears and blocks and stuff like that initially, or beliefs that we're not worthy of it, or that we can't, or that, we're stuck for whatever reason, to stop you from doing that, because it's just more comfortable to stay where you are and what you know, obviously, right? So this is why doing the subconscious work is so important, because it makes the rest of it so much easier when you're not constantly fighting this inner battle with yourself of no, I am worthy. I can do it. You can fucking do it. Anyway, so think about your values as your feminine energy. Your values are your connection to the universe. Your values are the universe whispering into you hey, you should be doing this right now. This is what your heart wants. And then think about alignment with those values and your intentions to stick to aligning with those values as the masculine energy and the doing, the choices, the actions that you take based on that inner knowing and that inner whisper of like, hey, step towards this. This is what your values are, that kind of thing. Now, there's like I feel like there's a purpose values crossover that happens. So our main purpose is our state of being, right? Which you could also say is the same thing as your values, like your main core values is a state of being. They're different to goals, like I said, in the sense that there's no end game, there's no end point that you tick off a value and be like, done. Like it's a constant way that you go. It's a constant direction that never ends. It's just ever present. So it's your like inner state of being. It's where you are the most comfortable in your optimal way of being. And that's like our main purpose, right? Is just to be conscious, to be here on earth, consciously creating our life and having a beautiful time and sharing light and love and all of that and just being present, just being here. Being here in our bodies and figuring out the best ways to have fun with that and see how far we can take it. and then you know, when people are talking about purpose, they're like, I think the general consensus on purpose is people equate it to like a career, direction or just like the biggest theme in your life or whatever, which is not, that's not wrong. It's not only that. So think about your purpose as your state of being, your consistent state of being, who you are deep on the inside. And then there's like actions that you can take that align with that purpose that will carry out your desires and all that sort of stuff. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this chick was saying that people are very purposeful, like in general. Like whatever it is that we're doing, every choice that we make, there's purpose behind it. Like I go to the toilet to relieve myself. What's with the fucking toilet things lately? Sorry. I'll paint a picture because I feel like doing something with my body and letting my mind just wander into flow state. I feel like creating something that makes me excited or whatever. The purpose is to feel good and be present and all of that. I'll go to bed at 9 p.m. because the purpose is to not be tired when I wake up. Do you know what I mean? Like we're so purposeful in like our everyday sense. And behind those choices, so when you go really deep into it, like the purpose of me going to bed at 9 p.m. so that I wake up and I'm not tired in the morning is also so that I can think clearly throughout the day. And like, why do I want to think clearly throughout the day? Because it's really important to me to be mindful and present and be conscious with my choices and actions and my body's feelings and everything. It's important to me that my body has enough rest because I value my body so much because it's like literally the portal into the universe and my creative life that I love. And being able to use my body to tap into that world and create based on what I find there within my heart and everything is one of my biggest values. So of course I'm going to go to bed at 9 p.m, you know what I mean? Well, not always. Sometimes I'm up really late. I stayed up till 2 a.m. the other day because I had the biggest fucking download. It was so amazing. All this creative inspiration was pouring through and I was like, cool, guess this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to just turn it off. So yeah, it's not consistent, but you know what I mean? Like we've always got purpose behind what we do, but it can just go deeper. You can be like, okay, then why do I do that? Why do I do that? Why do I do that? And if you're feeling like there's not a lot of purpose behind the things that you're doing and you're just stuck in habitual behaviors that you're like, man, I don't really love these behaviors and I wish I was living in like a different way, get clear on what you value and then you can start to make purposeful choices in your life that align with those values and you start to feel very intentionally purposeful, right? So like, does that make sense? Now, the journal thingy. I want to help you get clear on your values because if you're like, okay, cool, like, okay, I get the gist, like the goal is to live in alignment with the values. How do I find my values? So write down like the first things that come to your mind with what you value and then try and go deeper with it. So like you write down like, I value honest communication. Why do I value honest communication? Well, for me, because then it's like I can understand or connect with someone's heart better when I don't have to fish through their ego and try and like duck and weave their ego and sneak in behind it to access their heart. I save a lot of energy when someone's just okay with being honest because they're okay with who they are, then I can just have an easy conversation with them instead of trying to get to the core of it by, you know, taking down the big boss of their ego first without them even knowing about it. Like that takes energy just to connect with someone's heart when you're so conscious of ego. And so I value these relationships where it's less draining for me to be able to have a relationship or a conversation or a friendship, whatever, with someone who's really honest. Why do I want, like, why is it so important to me to save energy and like not be drained in these situations? Like, well, because I am so cognizant of energy and I understand how it works and how I want to use it. I understand my energy and I understand what I like to use it for. So one of my values is managing my energy so that I can, you know, save the energy for the big things and stay in alignment with my energy as much as I possibly can throughout my life, because my energy is it's my guide. It tells me what I'm doing and what I want to do and all of that. So if I was to spend a lot of time hanging out with people who are not very honest, I just feel like I would be incredibly drained and I would not find it very easy to connect with the hearts of those people. And we're meant to have connection. We love connection, right? So honesty is super important to me because then I can easily connect with someone and save my energy, right? So like you find whatever your value is, go deeper, 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 that kind of thing. So just like write it down a value, and then underneath it, give yourself the but why, you know? And get creative with it too, because there's values that, you know, like are just the common ones that everyone thinks that they should have. But then it's like, what are your specific values? Because like the core values of like honesty, love, connection, all that stuff, amazing. Find out your why behind those, because that will help you still. So it's not like they're not important. Find out why those things are important to you specifically. That's really important. Helps you with your relationships, with your friendships, the job choices that you have, all that sort of stuff. But then also look for values that are a little bit more creative. So one of my values is creating a life for myself that has like the utmost freedom. So I'm not about to create a business that will box me in. I did that once with my wedding photography business. I was like locked in a year or two in advance to a situation. So it wouldn't matter how I felt coming up to that. It wouldn't matter if I was sick as a dog or going through horrendous things. I was committed and I had to go through with that thing. And now I realize from reflection, that's not a way that I want to live. That does not suit my energy or my personality type. It doesn't suit my goals or my desires to lock myself into things super far in advance and to be like committed to such big uses of energy in that kind of way where no, thank you, like nope. So for me, I want to be able to ebb and flow as much as I like. I want to be able to, as much as humanly possible, maintain structure and stability while also nurturing my energy and my desire to be able to create whatever I like, go off in any direction I like, you know, expand my life as much as I want, because my creative energy is not slowing down. It has no fucking signs of slowing down anytime soon. It's just getting bigger and faster. So, and I'm like, slay, how far can I go? I'm exploring this map. See what happens. I don't know. Just fuck around and find out. Sounds good, right? So it's really important to me to like, so then, you know, that dictates other choices that I make. Like, am I about to go get a 9-to-5 and try and stay in that and find a 9-to-5 that like I really enjoy? Not really, because that's not really in alignment with my goal there and with my value. So my goal being to create the life that aligns with the value, right? So my goal is to create, instead of employment for me, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but specifically me, my energy, my desires, my values, that sort of thing, self-employment is better for me, because then I can have the opportunity to create that structure for myself where I can be both stable and structured and nurturing that, you know, bird-like freedom that I like to have. And So I'm doing that. Like I'm literally building the ability for myself to do that. I'm taking scary risks and stuff like that, but they feel aligned, right? Like I'm putting myself in extreme discomfort and extreme unknown to make it happen, but there's just no other way because I committed to myself like a couple of years ago to live in alignment with my values. And that was the first thing I did. When I went to change my entire life, the first thing I did was look at my values. And I've said it to you guys before. I've said it on TikTok. I've said it on the pod. Values, like step one, because they help you know where to go. But they do change, you know, or you get more clarity on what they are. Like my initial knowing of my value was I just knew that I wanted to slow down and be able to live with nature a bit more and not just like hustle past it. I wanted to be able to do whatever I want to do and not do anything that I didn't want to do. That's like as much as I knew. And I knew that whenever I was feeling really excited about something, it was easy for me. So I was like, all right, well, instead of, you know, just listening to other people who were like, life's hard, you have to work hard. I'm like, yeah, you have to work harder. It was hard for you. Doesn't mean that I have to do that. Like, I'm not going to just subscribe to that. I'm going to find a way to make it easy and fun and amazing. So I was like, well, whenever things are enjoyable and exciting and I find it interesting, it's fucking easy. So what a nice choice to make. I'm going to opt for things that I find interesting and exciting. And I just gave myself permission to explore that. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what that looked like. I did not know how to get there. That's the thing about values is they don't always come with directions. They're just a general. They're just like, I heard someone say that it's like how you say like you can just go north, right? Like north is a general thing that's like ever present. You could go north forever and then end up on the other side of the world back where you started. Like, I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like there's no specifics. There's not like take this street and that street. It's just north. But then the specifics sort of like the more actions that you take that are in alignment with your values and the more goals you set for yourself that are in alignment with your values, the more you find those little waypoints along the way that give you more clarity, more direction, that kind of thing. So anyway, the other thing I want you to journal down is, so remember the deathbed method episode that I did? So it's like similar to that. So this is the deathbed method for me anyway. I will like project myself into the future. So if I'm like, I'm going to set up this kind of business. And then I project myself to being like 120 years old on my deathbed. And I'm looking back over my life and I'm reflecting. And I'm like, let's just say you had to do that for a massive chunk of your life. Are you happy? Does it allow you the freedom that you want? Like, did you get to do all the things that you wanted to do in your life? Do you feel like that was a sustainable thing, or did you feel like you were drained and stretching your energy too far on a daily basis, that kind of thing? And then I'll write down, like I'll journal down what comes to mind. And the other thing is, like, the deathbed method is great because you can just look at your life currently as it is, right? Let's just say you have a relationship that you're uncomfortable in, or a friendship you're uncomfortable in, or a job that you don't like, or you desperately want to travel, but you just keep telling yourself like, no, like when I save up this and I buy a house first, then I can do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to, once I do this, then I can have that. If that's where you're at, like all the time, do this deathbed method thing. Sit down for like 10 minutes, just like focus on your breathing for a minute and just imagine that you are literally like 120 years old. You're going to die soon. And you're like looking back over your life. Maybe you're flicking through a photo album or something, or you're telling stories to your great grandkid, whatever. And they're like, hey, did you like your life? Like, what wisdom have you got? Like, what exciting things did you do? Whatever. And then picture where you're at right now. And then picture doing all the things you're doing, the excuses you're giving yourself, the mindset that you're in, the way that you feel every day, the relationships, the jobs, the friendships. Picture all that and having done exactly all this shit for the next 100 years or whatever, or the next 80 years of your life. Are you happy? Is your 120-year-old self happy, or are they drained? Are you feeling like, fuck, I wasted my fucking life? Or are you feeling like, oh my God, I grabbed that bitch by the balls and I made it what I wanted it to be? Oh my God, I could cry. I'm so emotional and excited about this. There's little literal tears in my eyes. Yeah, like sit down with yourself and quite literally ask yourself, because that's the thing, like it's, I don't know about you, but we have a way of making excuses that just have different jackets or different cloaks. You know, you might be telling yourself the same thing for the last 5 years of your life, but in different ways and in different contexts, but you're limiting yourself in one way or another of truly believing that you can't. Like, I'm not saying that everyone's, you know, like, yes, some things are going to be way fucking harder for others, like some people than others, you know what I mean? Like someone else who has a better financial standing position to begin with doing what I'm doing would probably already be, you know, with some massive company doing all these things or whatever because they had the startup money to do the thing. But part of my journey has been finding the way to do it from a place of having literally negative money and not a lot of ways to do anything with using money. Like I've had to use my energy and my brain and my creativity and just everything that I've got and to fucking figure it the fuck out. And I've had to, like, I don't know, I get ChatGPT to teach me heaps of things. You know what I mean? Like I figure it out. Whatever it is I need to do, I figure it the fuck out because it's in alignment with my values and I'm going to make it happen. And so then I use this opportunity to go, hey, there's heaps of people out there just like me who want to do what I'm doing and they don't know how to do it. So I'm going to turn around on the internet as many places as I can and tell people what I'm doing. And I'm just going to help other people along the way. And then it's nice because then all this beautiful community comes in my way being like, hey, same. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not alone. And it's lovely. And so, yes, it's been quite a struggle, but also it's been like a really fucking fun struggle, if that makes sense. And then there's probably people out there who don't have a laptop, you know what I mean? So fuck, it's going to be even harder for them. They're going down to the library. That's an extra bit of effort. But they're going to have some amazing juice that they can turn around and give the world from that effort. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we tell ourselves the same things again and again and again for a really long time. And I think it's just really time to sit down and recognize that you are going to die one day and that time is running out, but also like it's not a rush and you also have heaps of time. So I know that like literally contradicts itself, but we get all caught up in the wrong things. People go like, oh my God, time's running out, I gotta have a baby. Oh my God, time's running out, I gotta find a partner and get married. Like, oh my God, everyone else has a home except me. Oh my God, everyone's doing this. And oh my God, I'm getting like crow's feet. I'm getting old and I'm gonna die soon and blah. But they're not actually thinking about it in the right way. It's like, that's like, fucking who cares about, do you know what I mean? Not who cares about any of that, but like, why do you want to have a baby? Why do you want to have a partner? Why do you care about X, Y, Z? Are these, like, keep asking yourself, but why? But why? But why? Get to the core of it. Get to the actual core of why you want those things. Do you just like nurturing people? Can you nurture your friends in the meantime? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you, whatever, ask yourself the why, get clear on the value, and you will actually have a better time getting to where you want to go. And you'll also find so much information there that you didn't even know that you needed about where you are going and where your heart actually wants to go. And then it kind of like, it almost like time slows down when you do that. So I used to always just be like in this mental comparison with the rest of the world. Like, oh my God, I'm behind. Everyone's fucking running and going and they're killing it and I'm behind and everyone has everything but me. Oh my God. Ah! That was exhausting. And I felt like I was constantly running uphill, going absolutely fucking nowhere. And then I decided to fuck that, find out what my values were. And I was like, well, slay, like my current values don't actually align with thinking like that anymore. So I was like, okay, well, pump the brakes on all of that. And time stood still. It was so weird. It was like I was on my own planet all of a sudden. And that's when I did all of the work in the podcast that I've been talking about up until this point, like all of that self-development work that I was doing and all the spiritual growth and taking all the steps and all those things. And along the way, getting even clearer and clearer and clearer on those values. And now I live in a way of like, it still feels like time is slow because I'm so aware that one day I'm going to die and I don't have forever. Like, sure, my soul has forever, but in this life, Esther on earth, I don't have forever. I'm going to live a long fucking life because I have a lot to do. And people with big, strong feelings of purpose literally live longer because their subconscious is constantly telling their body and their cells and everything to keep regenerating because it's like, well, I've just got stuff to do. Things that I care about. So yeah, like time feels slow because I'm clear on what I'm doing and I feel like I've got so much life ahead of me. I feel like there's so much yet to come, if that makes sense, because I've realized that I don't have forever and I got my head out of my ass and started to go, fuck, I'm going to actually create the life that I want to live, because what else am I doing here? What are we all doing if not doing that? We are creative beings. Women literally create life in their bodies and pop it out. We go from a consciousness that doesn't fucking exist on Earth. It's not yet Earthside. And then suddenly we cook it up in our bodies and we put this consciousness inside a meat sack and we birth it out. Are you joking? What the fuck? That is the coolest thing. And then when we're kids, we've got like the biggest imaginations and we're so creative, and creative thinking is what gets us out of sticky situations. Creative thinking is what gets us to expand our worldview and expand our awareness. And we're meant to create our lives, guys. We're meant to. So anyway, try that deathbed method out. Now, the other thing to journal down is what your ultimate goal is that feels like it's in alignment with your values. So for me, I value freedom, and my goal is to have as much freedom in as many areas of my life as possible. I understand that, there's going to be some areas that I just have to adhere to the way things are done because I'm a human being on Earth living in society and all of that. That's fine. I'll, find ways to accept all those things. That's all good. But whatever I can do to create freedom, I'm fucking doing it. So my version of this, in case it gives you inspiration, I wrote it down. I'll read it to you. I wrote ultimate value, freedom, at the top of the page. And then down from there, I've got like what that looks like for me and what that means for me. And these are the goals that I'm heading towards, right? So my ultimate value, I don't know if this is my ultimate value, but it feels like one of the ultimate values. Like I also ultimately value love, you know what I mean? But let's just say for this current thing, it's freedom. So down from there, I've got obviously financial freedom, because financial freedom allows me to be my most authentic self, right? And I've had to get do a lot of work on my money mindset. I used to have a lot of fears around money and thought that if I had a lot of it, like I would have to judge myself for being like a fucking rich prick or something. And I thought, I just had so many underlying hangups about money, even though I desperately wanted it. I was in this tug of war with myself about it. So I've had to come to the realization that if I have money, I can expand myself as much as I like. I can live in my most authentic way of being with not a lot of limits, you know what I mean? If I have endless money, I can create endlessly, which is all I want to do. And obviously, knowing me as a person, I have a big, beautiful heart, so I will share that. I will create ways to make life better for other people. Like, that's part of the fun for me. But I will also have just fun with my money as a person, because I'm allowed to do that. So if that makes you uncomfortable, sweet. Listen to or read the audiobook You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. It's fucking incredible. It helped a lot with my money mindset stuff. But anyway, values. Freedom at the top, financial freedom next to that, or down from that. Then I've got freedom to, and this is in no particular order, it's just how I wrote them. Freedom to use my energy, how it likes to be nurtured, and decide to what I want to do and when I want to do it based on my energy at the time. Then I also wrote time freedom. I want the ability to pick and choose what and when. I don't like deadlines unless it's like a deadline that I've given myself for some reason. But even then, I don't really like deadlines because I just feel like the universe doesn't really work on deadlines in my experience. So and everything I do is so guided. Like I'm just acting out the things that I'm told to do by my intuition. So I don't know, just not really giving deadline vibes. You know what I mean? So one of my values is to just do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it. Creative freedom is another one. Another one of these goals to have my ultimate life of freedom. Creative freedom, so to create my life and all of the projects within it however I like. Obviously, I like to collaborate with other people as well, but that's one of the things. I want to choose to be able to collaborate with people on some things, you know what I mean? Connecting freely, making relationships with others based on an open heart and soul and have it reflected back. So I want to continue my path of being as authentic as I can in every situation, as much as I possibly can. I love that. Freedom of expression, setting myself free to express myself authentically and truthfully. Freedom from mind, peace and inner balance, a healthy relationship with myself, healthy self-talk, healthy patience and love for myself when I'm going through whatever choice. Maybe I made a choice that's not super in alignment with my values. That's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up, because beating myself up puts me in a lower vibrational state of energy. Because would the universe beat itself up about something? No, as if. So if you hear yourself being like disappointed in yourself or annoyed at yourself, just know that that's going to reinforce the bad habit. And if you want to actually break the bad habit, or just keep stepping in alignment with the highest version of yourself and with your values, you got to like give yourself grace and patience and be like, okay, well, that's fine. I made this choice today. That's fine. I'll just make a different choice tomorrow. It's as easy as that. And I want physical freedom, which is just constantly reminding myself, like, I'm safe and secure and I have autonomy over my body, my mind, and my life. So this is like, and then all of my intentions are aligned with all of this. And the intentions, okay, so if you're like, okay, how do I align my intentions with my values? Think of it like a couple of rivers. You've got two rivers side by side, and they're flowing into the same lake. And that lake is your authenticity. That lake is your soul. It's your heart, that kind of thing. And these two rivers are both leading into this same lake. One river is your values, and then the other river is the intentions. So the values river is like flowing along, and it's got whatever in it that you wrote down about your values and all of that. And it's all flowing to this river of authenticity. And then next to it is your river of intentions. You want to try and keep your river of intentions energetically flowing at the same pace and as closely as possible to your river of values. I wrote something down, hang on. Literally just have my journal here. I wonder if I'll ever be a professional podcaster. Probably not. As in, like, I know I'm going to be a huge podcaster, but will I do it in a shiny, polished way? Maybe, but maybe not. And that's okay. So your intentions river is your absolute unwavering intention to take any and all incremental steps to flow alongside your values at the same pace and tempo that they ask of you. Basically, you know, when you just get really fucking sure of something, when you commit, like fully commit, when you're like, this is something that I want to happen, that's setting a very strong intention. And you commit to that intention. And so if you find what your values are and you're looking into yourself and you're being like, I like to express love in this way. Why do I like to express love in this way? And then whatever that answer is, okay, but why, but why, but why? Like these kind of questions, they lead you to your innermost being and your values and everything. And then if you set the intention to flow yourself as energetically close to those values as you possibly can in as many areas of your life as you possibly can, with total love and patience for yourself. And this doesn't mean going hard in masculine energy, just being like, fucking, I'm committing. It's not like that. Like there's going to be heaps of times in that where the mission is to slow the fuck down and do less and kick back and just like be, you know, which for an overproductive world can be quite terrifying. So that's basically the best way that I can think of at the moment to describe like aligning intentions with values, is that overall commitment, like a mind, body, soul fucking commitment. Like this is what I'm doing, because that's, I don't know, that's what I did and this is where I'm at now and I'm really happy with the results. So I recommend that. And yeah, so we'll touch on those journal prompts again. So you want to visualize yourself on your deathbed. So just pretend that you're 120 years old. Sorry, I just like wiped my nose. 120 years old, and you're looking back over your life, how it currently is at the moment. Are you happy with the choices that you're making? Are you happy with the situation that you're in? Is there a way out of this situation that you can use your creativity, creative thinking, think outside the box as much as you can, out of those situations, tiny bit by tiny bit. Like you don't need to just make a fucking giant leap for no reason, not knowing what anything, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like you don't need to just be like, okay, I hate this, bye. Like you can if you want, if that's what it feels like you need to do. But for me, before I did those like really big, massive jumps, I was the biggest, most badass thing I could possibly do for myself was create a morning routine and meditate and slow the fuck down and create and paint and just spend hours and hours and hours with myself, allowing my soul to come up and be seen and just creating the space for it to show itself through my creativity. And then I would sit back and look at what I'd created and learn lessons from the universe through it and stuff like that. So those are the kind of steps that I was taking first, you know what I mean? That would align with my goals. Anyway, so 100-year-old self, 120-year-old self, whatever. What does that version of yourself want for you? And then also write down freedom as a goal and what that means for you. So what does freedom look like for you and for your energy, how your energy works, how you feel the most satisfied and interested and yeah, it's like we don't want to stretch our energy too much in the day-to-day. We want to save the times for stretching our energy for like the trust falls and the leaping into the unknown and the expansion of the comfort zone and stuff. Otherwise, we want to work within our energy. And I'm not saying to stay within your comfort zone and just stay with what you know. I'm saying listen to how your body and energy responds in certain situations and think to yourself or ask yourself, do I enjoy this? Like, am I actually enjoying this right now? What would I enjoy instead? You know, how would I actually prefer to live? Even if it doesn't exist and you've never seen it before, how would you prefer to live? Like the way I'm living, I'd never fucking seen anyone in my life do this before. I just decided to do it, you know? And yeah, so like also sit for like 10 minutes a day and visualize yourself in that state of freedom. Like when you've written down your what freedom looks like to you, and when you've asked yourself, like, what do you value? And but why? And you try and get to the core of what you value. And you ask yourself, how does my energy like to exist? Once you have all those sort of things written down, try and get quite clear on it and maybe just pick like a few general themes to try and intentionally float towards or you know, align your river of intentions with those few things to begin with. Because none of this is an overnight change. You can't do literally all of it at once. You can just say to yourself, the overall intention is to align with this, and I'll just do whichever parts of that are right for me at the time. I'm going to listen to my energy and listen to my body. Like, I don't fucking fight every hill that I see. Like, I've got habits that I'm yet to break, but I'm like, I can see that those ones are not the priority right now. The priority was the ones that I've had to work on so far to get to this point, and then I'll break other habits down the line. I can't think of any, but you know, I'm sure there are some. So, was this helpful? Hopefully. Hope so. That'd be amazing if it is. I feel like I was just so pulled to share this with you. Now, I am going to do more episodes on values and on purpose and all of that because I feel like this is something that we all need a lot of help with to get clear on this shit, to realize that we can actually change our lives and create it the way that we want it to be. So remember that you find your values first, and they are the guideposts, and then you find purpose within that, right? So you go, okay, my purpose right now is just changing my life. And then my purpose at the same time as that is helping others along the way. And then my purpose outside of that will be creating a life of freedom. And then whatever it is for you, and, you know, I was just listing my things, but yeah. Cool. Now, I am creating an actual business because, like, obviously if you listen to the pod and you're like a day one listener, you know how many different things that I have tried on and been like, nah, not for me. Or yes, this one's good. This is sticking. Like, thank God the pod's stuck. Hey, because I love it. But yeah, like I don't force myself to stay within things that are not right for me. I find very quickly that they're not right, and then I go, that's not it. But it's, you know, maybe it's the right direction. So it's like I tried that part, I gained knowledge from it, now I know how that works, or now I know that that's not it, which is still fucking helpful. And then I have more clarity moving forward to what is it. So everything on my path up until this point has been just trial and error, right? Like, I don't know, there's no fucking guidebook for any of this shit that I'm doing. It's just been, I feel like I should do this. The universe is dangling a carrot for me to go in this direction. So I go in that direction and then I go, that's not it. Like, yes, this direction is it. I raised my frequency to get here. I learnt more. Now that I'm at this frequency, the universe is going, okay, actually it's over here. And then I'm like, okay. And then I turn. And then I'm like, okay. So I just keep pivoting and dancing and co-creating with the universe. It's all led me to the business that I'm creating now. And this is like, I've tried on enough jackets to know that this is a jacket that I'm going to wear for a while. I'm not just going to take this one off. I'm fucking so excited. Oh my God. I have created my logo because I just love creating, right? So it's like I have fun creating the content for the business as much as like the business running kind of thing. I haven't obviously started the business. Well, I've started the back end of it. It's not out in the world yet. I'm not even going to tell you what it's called or what it is fully. I'm just telling you that I'm having fun creating something. I'll tell you eventually, but not yet. But yeah, like I love making all the videos that I make on TikTok. Like I enjoy that so much. And I was just doing that to share my knowledge. And what I'm producing now, like this business that I'm making, is in alignment with that, right? So it's like everyone who already loves all my TikTok videos is going to fucking love this thing that I'm making because it's in alignment with all of us, because we're in alignment with each other. And it's in alignment with what the world needs at the moment. It's going to help thousands of people, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know how big it's going to get. Who knows? But it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to make mindset development and like all of this stuff with creating your life and changing your life so fucking easy for people. It's going to just inspire you to that you fucking can. You can do this. And here's how, you know what I mean? And it's just going to be like so attainable for people. And it's going to, do you know what the best part about it is? It allows me freedom and stability at the same time. It is like the bedrock. It's like I'm concreting a fucking bedrock for my life at the moment that I can then attach myself to via a gold cord and then float out to space and create in any which way direction I like. And I can always land back at this because what I love doing so much is in alignment with this. I get to just create and keep bringing it back to this foundation that I'm building. And I'm fucking pumped. So anyway, I'll tell you when it's live. Actually, you know what I'll do literally right now? By the time you listen to this episode, there's going to be a thing on my website saying like join the wait list. So you can just go on my, like it's esthersuniverse.com. Join the wait list. I'm not going to email you a bunch of things. I literally couldn't be fucked harassing people. So I'll literally just be like, hey, it's live. Here it is if you want me to tell you about it when it exists. But I will post about it eventually before it's live. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this because, you know me, I do things at like a fucking, you know, do what someone would do in 10 years in the space of like a 3-hour afternoon. So it'll happen soon, but I also don't want to rush it. I'm doing it very guided, like whenever the inspiration is there to act on it, but it's been pouring through. I feel like I'm having a heart attack all the time at the moment and I'm like, can't even have like coffee or anything. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this episode with a friend if you love it and if you're like, fuck, this is going to help a bunch of people. Please do share it around. That means the world. And give it a rating on Spotify or Apple. 5 stars, please. That'd be amazing. I love you. Bye.